Hey everyone, it's Steve here with Rep PHerse. Today I'm going to be going through a tutorial on our sales flows, and specifically sales flows that are directed at your contact list. So when you log into your Rep PHerse account, I am using it today on my desktop. You're going to see all of your menu options. I have mine adjusted a little bit for my personal preference, but you're going to head right over here to the sales flow list option. And this is going to open up and show you all of the available sales flows that you've already created. As you can see, I have just the default sales flow in my flow list. That's because I haven't yet gone through and made any new ones. Today I'm going to be modeling a manufacturer that has sent us a promo that they are putting on, and we are just going to be running our contact list through this sales flow to let them know about this new promo. Today we're going to start right up here, hit create new. It's going to open up a little dialog box here that's going to give us a form to fill out for our sales flow. I'm going to create a title for this. Made a promo in my manufacturers list. You can find how to add and remove manufacturers in another video. I'm going to just say we're going to call this the Baker's dozen promo. Give it a quick description. This will allow your users to know, users meaning your Rep PHerse users, to know what this funnel is all about and why we're using it. Right now we have two options for what this flow is going to focus on. In another video we're going to go through some of the extra data that projects can have, but for right now we're just going to be focusing on contacts. It's going to adjust some of the information down here. This box here is used for when we're creating comments, if there's a specific method of contact that we want to use. For these contact records, we're just going to kind of get rid of a few of these here. We're not going to do that one. We're not dropping that. We're not doing that. Why don't we leave it at these? If we wanted to add some extra ones, we could say add extra method. And then hitting enter will add this in, and we can hit save. I'm going to remove this. We can add and remove as many as we want. These are just the default ones that come pre-programmed in with the system. So we're just going to leave it at those methods of contact. This is a great spot if we want to change what our closed conditions are. What I mean by that is, what do we want to call it when they've finished? So I've got a couple that I'm going to use. We're going to say not interested. Let's say they actually bought the promo, so we can filter based on that one. And then we're going to close one based off of no response. So these are just a couple. We can always come back and add more in later. This just gives you an idea. If you leave this blank, as you can see right here, it's going to just have a default close condition of closed. So when you close this out, it's just going to say closed. From right here, if we know what we want to create, what steps we want to add in, we can add in a bunch of steps right here. For today, I'm going to bypass this and do this from the details menu. Last option is for certain permission levels in Rep PHerse, you're going to have the ability to share your funnel or keep it as a personal one. If it's a personal funnel, it only shows up in your funnels list. It won't go to anybody else in your organization. If you hit share it, it will be shared across the organization, so you can have other coworkers or reps on your team use the same funnel and the same flow with their data. We're just going to share this one today, and we're going to just go ahead and save that. As you can see up here, now we've got a second flow in our flow list. We can make as many flows as we want, and we can kind of sort through them later on. So you can kind of see a bit of really brief data on this. So titles, descriptions, when it was created, what the flow is focusing on. So this one's focusing on projects, this one's focusing on contacts, and then the number of steps. So you got 7 steps here, we got 0 here for right now. So we're just going to go ahead and click on that, and it's going to open us into our details. As you can see, this is going to go through a little bit more of the details. It shows you, hey, these are the contact methods that we added, these are our closed options, and this is some of the extra data that is attached to these leads. We have no steps right now, and so that's what we're going to go ahead and do. So right over here, we've got an add button. We're going to use that add button to add in our first step. I always like to have a container step that's just like, what is the first thing we're doing? And so I call this one lead added. So we're just going to say lead added, and then what are we doing when we add a lead into our funnel? Think about this as like, what is the task when we have a contact in this step? I'm going to start ours off with a phone call. So we're just going to say in the description here, we're going to say, hey, I want to call the contact and make them aware of the promo. I'm going to give a timeline of 1 day. That's saying when I add this lead into this funnel, by tomorrow, I expect to have made this call for all the leads that I put in. If you don't, it'll put it into a overdue tasks and so forth. So we're going to add a task to this step as well. So you can leave it just like this as kind of a notification one. So you can put it in there and, hey, like in 7 days, I want to be notified that, I need to check something or something like that. But for today, we're going to add in a task because we have 2 tasks available to us. It's going to say 3, but right now there's 2 tasks that are pre-programmed with the system. We have phone call, email, and then text. We're going to start off with ours as being a phone call. So what this means is first day, so we're going to add our leads into this step. In the next 24 hours, I'm expecting to make a phone call to the contact that we add. So it'll make sense here in a second once we actually show you how the flows work in the flow dashboard. So you get an option, what's the task type? And then here is what is the task template. Think about this one as kind of like, what are we leaving in our voicemail? So if we get a hold of them, great. If we don't, we want some ideas to like what we're trying to let them know in a voicemail. I'm just saying I wanted to make you aware of a baker's dozen promo that made which is one of my manufacturers in my system here, and the promo is good on any orders placed during the next 60 days. Just a really brief one. You can add more information. I'm going to keep it pretty brief today, but you can add as much information as you want here. So we're going to hit save, and now you see we have 1 step in our flow. We're going to add a new step. We're going to say this one is going to be an email follow-up. So we're going to say send promo flyer. We're going to say follow up with literature. And then this one I'm going to put in, we're going to do another 1-day task. So as soon as we move our contact from that called one, in another day, we're expecting to send out literature. So we're going to say, we're going to add a task to this step. We're going to call it an email. So in our emails, we actually have a few template variables that you can add in. And I will put a link to the document that goes through a bunch of the different template options that we have currently available. We're hoping to add more in the future. So think of these. So this one's going to say dear full name. And so let's say we've got a customer named Justin Case. This would say dear Justin Case, and then it would say, go through the whole email. And then this one is my name, meaning it is your name, the name of the person that is sending this email. So you can make these forms. There's a couple others. I know there's first name, last name, I believe employer name, and things like that. So there's a couple of different variables that you can add in. And then we're going to just save this one. We're going to do another email here. We're going to follow up a week after. Let's get rid of that. And then we're going to follow up again. Follow up after a week. I said a week here, but I tend to like to put these at either 6 or 8 days if we're talking about a week. A couple of reasons for that. Think about it if you're going to be following up with the same person week in and week out. If you follow up with them on the same day, maybe they're always busy Monday mornings or Tuesday mornings when you're following up. So if you do this just off 1 day, this will kind of make it so that you're rotating through on different days of the week. So we're just going to make this one 8 days. We're going to add in a task type again of email, And we're just going to go ahead and add in this next one. So sent you some information. Thanks. Oops, let's go this way here. And so, you know, again, we can add in more information to this. Right now, this is very basic. I'm just trying to keep it real simple. We're going to do this one, and then we're going to add 2 more steps in here. And these are just kind of finishing the flow. Let's do this one. See, so this one's going to be called a follow-up later. Let's say the contact that we reached out said, hey, like, I'm interested, but I don't have the time to deal with this. You know, follow up with me later. So I'm going to put this in as 30 days, just so that it's kind of going out a little while. We're not going to add a task to this one because, you know, those this isn't going to be an email or a phone call. What I'm going to do here is I'm placing in a notifier for myself for the future saying, hey, when I place my user into, or my contact or my lead into this step, let's create a task that will have a due date so that we can follow up in a specific amount of time rather than just saying, hey, in 30 days, let's follow up with them. We're going to save that, and then we're going to add one more here. And then this one's just going to be a removal case. So we're going to say remove from flow, and then we'll say this one's going to be another 8-day if we've heard nothing. Again, this one's just saying, hey, if we get into this step, let's not bother. Let's just let's remove them out of here. Let's not spend our time with this contact. I do want to do one quick thing. So you're going to notice over here we've got a couple of move up, move down button. You can actually reorganize your steps right here. So I really did actually want to put this one as step 4. So to do that, all we have to do is hit move up, and now remove from flow is sitting there at step 4, and follow up later is sitting at step 5. This is kind of looking like is saying, hey, if we brought in a lead and put it into this flow today, by tomorrow we want to have done this one, and then that will be here. And then the day following that, we'll do this one, and then in a week we'll do this. And then if by this point we haven't gotten a response from them, this is looking at, 18 days or so. Later, we're just going to remove them from the flow. This is just a container to put anybody from the beginning 3 into, to say, hey, we're waiting, and we're going to follow up with them at a later date. That's really the way to create these flows. The next video, I will show you how to place your contacts into this flow and then start to work them through these different steps.